guys, another week with your crew with Vybe Vybe. So you be watching the most authentic podcast, gang.
Gang.
Everyone, guess who's back this week? I know y'all missed me last week. I'm sorry, y'all. I had Marcus keep the mic down. I saw the mic moving up. Keep it down. I had some things to do last week. But I'm back. I'm out of jail now. Thank y'all for bunning me out. Thank you for the GoFundMe accounts and everything. But hey, tonight is Thursday. We'll get this night started. The Rockets just started tonight and everything. So yeah, and as you can see, we have a guest. We haven't had a guest in a whole month now. What, 2 months?
Right.
So, yeah. Is it just me? I heard somebody else talking. Oh, I thought I heard somebody else talking. But we have Mr. Demez F. White.
Right.
Himself.
We got him up in the building. Okay.
Hey, haven't seen you in a minute. How you been?
It's my first time seeing you, but
I know. We black people always know that one black person that looks. I don't know.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah, very, very excited.
Yes. We will be getting into his life and books in a minute, but guess what? What's vibing?
We'll get you your theme song soon. We will. We'll get you your theme song.
One day, sweet Jesus.
One day.
So, I wasn't going to have no What's Vibing tonight, but, Marcus kept talking about this over and over again.
Not that much.
Yeah, he wanted to talk about Tank.
Yeah, you were talking about it a little bit, though.
You was talking
just a little bit.
Anywho, so Tank was on an interview, on a show, whatever, and he was talking about sucking ding-dongs, right? And he actually said, I have sucked a dick before, but I didn't like it, didn't like the taste. It wasn't for me. Then later on, he was like, if a dude sucked a dick 2 times, he ain't gay. Right, Marcus?
Something along those lines.
Yeah. I don't know about that. What y'all feel about I mean, sucking dick is a thing, that's God nature. But a man version of it, I don't know about that.
Right? Get a man's opinion about it.
That's not okay.
Thank you.
It's not okay. I mean, look, if you're gay, you're gay. That's your thing. Love who you want to love. But you don't have to tell people. How do you say that, if you do it once, maybe. If you do it twice, you know for sure. Like, I've never had a Bloody Mary. I know I don't like celery and tomato juice. I don't really. Yeah, this is. Tank put every man that has to come on podcast in an uncomfortable situation.
For him to say that.
Yes.
I'm sorry, because did I make you feel uncomfortable?
I don't feel uncomfortable, but I just feel like I shouldn't have to be telling people in 2019 that, I'm not going to do that to know that I don't like that.
Exactly. Mike, we have a clipping of it, right? Oh, let's roll it. Unless it's been rolling, I don't know.
Does he have the...
Yeah, he have the clipping. He said he found.
Oh, so he really did do the whole clip, like.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, we done with it then. So, well, let Tank be Tank. He was in TGT group, and that's probably how he joined the group. No, I'm joking, y'all. I'm joking.
That was an amazing album, by the way.
It was an amazing group. Genuine was just a little off a little bit. Just a little bit.
They all were off a little bit, though. Think about, think about Tyrese, too, though. Like,
their career was starting to go off, like, who was that? LSG.
Oh, LSG. Yeah.
You know, like them.
Reverse Sweat.
But
yeah.
everything started happening for Tyrese around that time with his child, and Genuine and Tank. Anyway, moving right on tonight. Let's get into your life.
Right.
I haven't seen this dude in the last first time ever thing. So, was you born and raised in Houston?
Of course.
Okay.
High school, college, the whole nine.
What high school you went to?
Forest Brook.
Okay. I'm a Westfield girl.
Okay.
I was Westfield.
Yeah, you down the road.
Yeah, okay. Born and raised. And you an author?
I am.
Author. Do you do any sing? I want to say he's an author, a singer. You have that Barry White voice. I'm just saying.
I sing in the shower. I sing.
Mini concerts, y'all.
Yeah.
Mini
Right.
concerts.
I sing my son bedtime stories.
Okay.
I sing to my wife when she's mad at me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I figure the best way
wait
to
a
like.
minute. You said when you sing to your wife when she's mad at you?
Yeah, because like getting her to laugh is gonna stop her from being mad.
Ah.
So
I like
I
that.
can't sing.
Might try that one day.
Yeah. You
Don't.
got to. Humor will always work. So
Right.
always.
See, he
Can't lose.
kept his. I don't know if you'll keep yours.
There's more than one way to keep her.
Oh, okay, Tank. But
Wow.
That is not a cool nickname.
oh yeah, that's true. I don't know what else to call you, and that was kind of off right now. Okay, and let's get into like the because you have 3 books.
Yes, ma'am.
The first one came out in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
That was the
Walking
Down the Aisle. And then the second one, tell me about Walking Down the Aisle. How was it writing that book?
It was my first book, and it was 10 years in the making. Basically, it was a accumulation of relationships, friendships, stories that I learned from like 2003 all the way to 2010. So I put like a little bit of everybody I'd ever met in some of these characters. And it was very personal for me. But to be perfectly fair, it was my first book. And I was so excited about it that I was not meeting deadlines. I kept changing stuff. So I can really see the growth between that book and now. Just because when it's your baby and it's your first, you never really get settled. But people liked it. It was a good book. I just, it's my first book, and I wasn't happy with the ending. I've learned to be honest about that now. I think sometimes when you get on these kind of shows, you always tell people how everything was the best and everything was perfect. And that first experience for me, I learned that I had no idea what I was doing. I was just writing. And when you're just writing, you don't really know how to write. You just know that you can write. So,
did you always know, was this your first love? Was writing one of your first loves?
Of course. I was relatively shy in high school.
Okay.
So I knew that I had to find some kind of way to get women. And, that was like writing love letters, writing little manifestos,
You sending poems?
Yeah, all that kind of good stuff. So once I realized that actually worked, and I was like, you know what, maybe I should try to write books or at least short stories or something.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I fell into it. I started off small and realized I can actually do this. I have an imagination.
So I have a question because you're an author and everything. Do you like sit in a dark room and just think a lot? Do you have a week by yourself for a getaway to start writing your book? How do you start it?
Right.
I know you say you find people and put them in your characters. I mean, in your book as characters. I hope I'll be one in your next. The crazy chick. So.
The best way to start a book, honestly, is to be quiet.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what I mean. If I come in this room right now and you all in here having conversations, talking, I'll introduce myself and I will literally sit down and just listen.
So you people watch?
Of course. Well, I don't really call it people watching because I don't care how you look. It's more so how people listen. And people will have the most intimate conversations if they believe nobody is listening. And what I found is if I try to do it with my family and friends, they're going to know when I write about them. But if I come somewhere like this and I'm doing it, I don't even know most of y'all name. So if y'all talking about something relatively personal, interesting, and I use that in a book, you'll never know. Even if you read it one day, you might be like, this sounds kind of familiar, but I don't know this guy.
Right.
And that's kind of the best way to start a book. That's the baseline for it.
Okay.
Or social media. Like nowadays, I watch Instagram lives. It's social media is a lot. People will give their heart and soul on social media.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
And actually, I use a lot of that in my current book. That's
Okay.
one of the ways that I made it interesting, is that I take real life and I sort of just throw my spin on it.
Is there any authors that you look up to that you try to kind of mimic? Sometimes people try and mimic a little bit. Are there any that you?
Besides yourself.
Right.
Well, obviously, I grew up on the Eric Jerome Dickey's, Carl Weber's,
Okay.
Okay.
Sister Soldiers, that genre.
Oh yes.
Good reads.
But I stopped reading those books. Well, let me rephrase that.
You
I
a
still
Zane
read them.
person?
No.
Hey.
Did you start reading them so they wouldn't influence your own writing as well?
Yes. So what I started doing was reading a lot of
Makes
historical
sense.
fiction. So guys like Koenig, Darwin, Alex Felix, like these people, they write about historical fiction, African fiction, Roman fiction, these different things. So like if I do accidentally take their tone, it won't be the same kind of content.
Right.
Okay.
But if I accidentally took Eric Jerome Dickey's tone, it might be the same kind of content. So that's something that I couldn't do just for myself. I actually interview people. I'm a journalist on the side per se.
Okay.
So I've interviewed Eric Jerome Dickey several times.
Oh, really?
I bet that was interesting.
Right.
It was. And, you know, he's a very mild-mannered guy, very quiet guy. And, you know, he comes to Houston a lot. And,
Okay.
you know, we've talked. And what I never wanted to do was be the guy who's like, yo, I love your book so much. Imitation is a form of flattery. To me, it's not. So I might read his books, but I make it a habit to read them on my off time. So if I'm not in the middle of writing a book, I'll check his stuff out. But if I am in the middle of writing a book, I'll be sure to read other types of genres, so that way, you know, I don't get caught up in, you know, being
A copy.
a writer bop.
You said a writer bop?
Yeah, a writer
Pretty
bop.
much.
Okay. I never heard that.
Okay, and your other book in 2011, Conversation Between Adults. So tell me a little about that, because, you know, I'm an adult now, so.
Okay, so Conversations Between Adults is a series
Okay.
of adult erotica. You mentioned Zane.
That's why I said that, because I'm
Right.
okay, I'm an adult.
Okay.
Oh, that's right up her alley.
Yeah, so I've read Zane books, but I wouldn't say I'm the biggest fan. But I have read her books. I appreciate who she is to the culture.
Okay.
Conversations Between Adults is very much adult erotica. It's basically glorified porn on book pages. It's actually, to be honest with you, it's my most successful piece of art. I sold out.
So many freaks out there. Don't
Yeah.
try to tell.
Right.
I sold out venues. I
Yes.
had dating sites at clubs.
Passion parties with the book sitting right there, probably.
Right.
Yeah. They sold a lot, but when I grew up and I loved writing, I always envisioned myself being James Baldwin, or I don't know, like being in Harlem Renaissance,
Okay.
not Zane. So once I realized how popular they were getting, I really had no choice but to kind of slow down on that,
Okay.
because as much as I love the attention, I want my books to live forever. And erotica isn't something that really lives forever.
Yeah.
It's something that people read in the moment and they want the next thing.
It's just a lust.
Yeah. So, I mean, they're still out there. I'm not going to take them down.
Okay.
but,
Right.
Okay. You can probably get popular on Pornhub, huh?
man.
I can look for you real
Now,
quick. No,
for
I'm joking.
that though, for that, what was your inspiration
For that, yeah.
specifically for that?
Oh, women.
Duh.
Women.
Well, we know that,
Okay,
but like,
look,
was there a
so-
specific,
Look,
a specific woman?
not a specific woman. I love women. I'm married now.
It doesn't matter. I mean, that didn't matter, but I'm just saying, like, for that, was it before marriage?
Yeah, of course, way before my marriage.
Okay.
But back in those days, you know, I love dating. I love conversation. You can drop me in the middle of any bar in any city in any country, and I'm going
Okay.
to be able to have a conversation.
Okay.
And to me, conversations always lead to the most intimate details of somebody's life, if, you know, you make them feel comfortable. So a lot of my books are based on those conversations or based on those dates. And the sex part is actually pretty easy to write, because most sex is the same, if we're being honest. When you're writing about it, you can change the scene, you can change the backdrop, but the part that really makes great erotica is that you're telling a story, you're telling a build-up, the anticipation. So that's one of the things I pride myself on is you can write 30 pages of people just having sex, but the part that really makes it dope is that you can talk about that initial time when you meet a woman and when you look at her and know that you can have her whenever you want. And that anticipation that comes with that. So
that's a good conversation for me for another day, because people used to look at other people like, I could just look at her, she just a freak. Or I could look at her, she just a wifey material, so I can't mess with that yet because I need to finish doing my wilding out right now. But
I'm not necessarily talking about that. I'm more so talking about when you and her are talking.
And you just know right there, it's just a one night thing, or
no, not a one night thing, but like it can be whether it's tonight or 6 months from now.
okay.
Right.
But like you're talking to her, and at some point in you all's conversation or friendship or relationship, you're gonna get the vibe from her that she wants you and you want her. So not necessarily looking at her like she a freak or she a wife. I ain't talking about that.
Oh, I used to look at dudes like that. Oh, he's a freak.
You're talking more so about the tension that y'all giving off towards
Yes.
each other.
Yeah, and it might not happen the first night.
Right.
You might really just start off like talking.
But it's that connection.
And
love
over
that,
time,
that
that anticipation builds. Now, of course, in an erotica setting, it's kind of condensed, so you don't have it all at one time. I mean, it's kind of condensed, but in real life, and that's what I base it off of. So
Okay. Okay.
I like that.
Let's get into this 2019 book, which our title is tonight. Yes.
Right?
You see how beautiful that book is?
What
yeah?
lies between us.
What lies?
Now,
between-
I'm going to tell
At
you, I
first
was a little
like,
upset
Okay.
because on his Instagram, you posted a little bit of it. And I'm reading it. I was like, that's it? No, you got to bring...
It's always
I'm
a
like, you
teaser.
gotta
You
give
can't
that
put
little
the
That's the
whole
best
tease.
kind.
No.
First of all,
I'm
you
like, I
want
want the
somebody to
whole
buy it.
thing.
Yeah,
Of course.
that's the best kind. That's how you get them.
Just how, it's a teaser. You can't just start and be like,
I want everybody to buy it.
yes. At first I was telling Toy, which you're not here tonight, I was like, can I get a copy of the book?
Right, yeah. He was like,
But-
well, what exactly, like, can we read it?
Tell me
Hey,
about
Martha,
these different
go ahead,
characters
cop
like
that.
Al and
Right.
Chance and I was reading up on them. I was like, now I want to know who those people are.
Right.
Okay, so
Give me a life of this book.
basically, What Lies Between Us takes place in 2019, Houston, Texas.
Okay.
I like to look at every book I write as a movie. So I look at it as scenes.
Okay.
So Chance and Al, they jug. And I don't know how many of y'all been in Houston your whole life, but jugging is something that happens mainly in Fifth Ward, Houston. It's basically when you go to a bank, you sit in the parking lot, you wait for somebody to come out, and you follow them. The premise of jugging is we're going to follow you, and 9 times out of 10, somebody's going to stop at a gas station, a Whataburger, a grocery store. And once you break into that car and take the money, it's only like petty theft.
Yes.
So you weren't using a gun, you weren't using a knife, you weren't robbing them. So if you catch a case behind it, you might get like 6 months of probation as opposed to running up on them with a pistol.
Right.
Exactly.
So, okay.
That's the game for y'all who watching Thieves and stuff.
No.
Okay.
So
We don't condone that.
We don't.
we don't
We
condone
definitely
it.
don't
We
condone it.
don't, but hey, it's out there. So I can't be like, don't go do it. Shit.
Tiffany, real quick. Tiffany said all of Demez White's books are like that. They draw you in and have you wanting more, wanting to read more.
Oh, cool, thank you, Tiffany.
Right?
And also, so that ties into social media. So we all know the Instagram women. You know,
The Instagram thoughts.
yeah. You know, they
Hold look at the picture.
okay. They do a live and they get 50,000 likes, 50,000 people watching them.
Right.
They go to a club appearance and everybody's like, wow, the whole city came out to watch them.
Yes.
But the truth of the matter is, they go to these clubs and they might get a bottle and a section for their friends. They go on these Instagram and they doing, I don't name any brands, but they doing these different brand sponsorships and they really weren't getting paid. They're just getting like a free dress. So what Chance and Al do is they know that these girls don't have money, they just have internet fame. So they seek them out because a lot of them have 9 to 5s.
Yes.
So in this particular case, one of the women is a bank teller. And on Instagram, she's famous, but she's broke. She's eating noodles. She doesn't have money.
That's the real
So
life.
what
Right.
they do is they say, yo, look, let's go to her, and they do this all over the city. They find women that are Instagram famous at check cashing places, banks, and they go to them and say, hey, look, you know the guys that's coming in here cashing checks, making money, doing payroll. Talk to me.
Okay. Okay. I mean, you got me into it already because
I'm telling you. So is this one? It's 3 different stories in this.
It's 3 different stories. You have the bank robbers, you have the Instagram thoughts, and you have a married couple that's kind of going through the same
Yeah.
thing.
And that's what I was reading. That's what you put in your
Yes.
thing.
Yes.
I was like, oh, he knew he was wrong. He knew he was wrong. He left.
Of course, because that's real life. You have a
Right.
lot of married couples that have these really perfect relationships on social
social
media.
media. Yep.
And you have people, you post a picture of them, and they're like, we're relationship goals, that's black love. And the truth of the matter is they can't stand each other.
Right.
And from the outside looking in, you can get resentful.
Yes.
If you have a wife or even a husband and everybody's like, you have this amazing man, he's so great, and you're like, yo, he doesn't even like me.
Exactly.
Right.
So all of these 3 sections of lives end up tying in together, and they make for this story, and they make for this world that is Houston, Texas, that is social media, that is the streets, that is brunch, Twitter,
Damn.
and that's my
So
novel.
it's everything. I know I'm getting me a copy. I'm buying one. So.
And
definitely
release
copying the copy.
date
Right.
is November
The release date is November 9th.
November 9th.
9th.
Yes, actually, there will be no copies of my novel released until November 9th, and there will only be 200.
Until I'll be jugging this one. He's like, hey, give my damn book back.
There will only be 250 copies released on November 9th at Share Space Houston at my book release.
Okay.
Okay.
And on that night,
And just to let y'all know, it's free, y'all.
Right. It is.
But you
free.
have to, get your spot now. Yes.
you have to
It's an
RSVP.
exclusive
Yes.
Yeah.
RSVP.
And we use the word free, but let me clarify something.
Because, free, a whole bunch of niggas be
Right.
Yeah. So basically what happens is
I saw free and capitalized.
if you buy a book to get there, if you buy the book is $14.99.
Okay.
So if you buy a book to get in, you secure your spot. So right now we're like 50% capacity with people that have bought books.
Okay.
Once all the books are sold out, then we probably have a space for about 40 or 50 people.
Okay.
If you want to get in to celebrate with me, to enjoy the festivities. But for the most part, you need to buy a book to make sure you get in.
And support
Right,
all the black
definitely
authors.
support.
I keep picking up this book because I'm trying to put it in my purse.
Right.
But security. But yeah,
And for the
support.
price of the book, basically, we have a live band,
Okay.
we have an open bar,
Okay.
we have catered food, live music, a DJ, security. It's
I
the
mean,
whole
the
nine.
price ain't bad. 14.
Right, 14.
I paid,
You know how many times people pay like
done paid
$20,
$100
$30
I'm just
for a
saying,
book.
I already paid in the $20 for a Joe Augustine book.
You and this Joe Osteen.
I'm in
girl.
love with that man.
Perfect.
I can't wait till Victoria dies because I can marry that man. But
Wait, I got a question. You was in love with him even after he left the people out there floating?
See?
I
Yes.
told you,
Yes.
you and this white people.
because you know why? Because if I'm a Dale tonight, because Dale say the same thing. I was looking
We
at him
miss you, Dale. We miss you, bro.
Man.
If he had opened those doors and the church had flooded with them people in it, either way he gonna look stupid.
It's the old summit. I'm pretty sure. Like, there's a lot of room in there. It's like really
There's
high.
plenty
It
enough
doesn't
room
matter.
to where they
Don't-
can stay that
What
time.
happened? What happened about everybody? Y'all ain't
Like,
say,
there's actually like a parking garage underneath, so it
That's
would take a lot for it to flood.
that's cool. Y'all ain't say about that about the little bitty churches in the hoods and stuff.
They
We're
probably
not
didn't get
expecting them to
they
do
didn't
that,
get
but
flooded.
they did.
Some
Most
of
of the
them
smaller
churches,
churches.
some of them churches did not get flooded. Do y'all
No,
say?
I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about they opened up for these people.
No,
Yeah.
some of them did, some of them didn't.
But you have
It's
I
the
still
principle
love
of the
my
thing,
man.
girl. It's the principle
I
of the
still
thing.
love my man. I still love the church. I barely do
He's
go
trash.
to it, but I love that man.
So you do have a question from Mike. Mike says, "Are there any books that you're reading currently that you can recommend besides your book?"
That's a good question.
Shout out to Mike.
To be honest with you, Mike, I can't give you one off the top of my head, only because, like Drake said, he in album mode, well, I've been in book mode.
Okay.
So when I'm in book mode, it's all about writing the book, perfecting the book, sending out emails, getting the event ready. So over the last 6 months, I just haven't had a lot of time to do leisure reading. So, Mike, look me up in like 2 months, and I will give you a dedicated list of amazing books that you can read.
Right.
And we'll do it that way.
How about you post it online so I can get a copy of that list too as well?
Right.
Okay, well, but first we're gonna buy my book.
Right.
Oh,
It's,
sure.
it's about his book. It's about his book.
Yeah,
Sure.
It's
yeah.
all about
It's
his
already
house
done deal.
tonight.
But after that, I'll be happy to
You
give
heard
you all
him
the
say
list.
2 months.
So, for people that are wanting to were you self-published, or who did you go through?
Well,
Like, did you-
my first book in my series of short stories, I had a publisher,
Okay.
Okay.
and I learned a lot because basically what happened was you don't pay for anything, so you show up when they tell you to show up. You don't put anything together. You don't pay any vendors. You don't do anything. But the split is like 70-30.
Ooh.
That's horrible.
And you don't really have access to a lot of the invoices and things that happen, so you have to take their word for it. Now, I believe in my publishers, so I believe them when they gave me numbers. I don't think they were trying to play me,
Right.
but there are a lot of publishers that will play you.
That's true.
So what I decided was, once I got out of my contract, I would rather do the legwork myself and have to spend a little money up front to keep all of the profit and have all the control.
Right. A lot of people are doing that with the self-publishing.
So that's what I did. I decided, I went through the process. I watched how they did it. Let me do it myself. I know how to pay editors. I know how to pay publishing companies to print my stuff out. I have family that do catering and vending, so they can help me with the event. So I would always suggest in this day and age, for your first book, lean on somebody.
Okay.
But if you make it through that first book and you still feel like you want to do it, do it yourself.
Okay.
That's where we live in now.
So you started with Amazon. Did you start doing it with Amazon first, or because some people do Amazon, like they go through doing it themselves through Amazon?
Well, Amazon,
They get a percentage too.
yeah, but Amazon is basically like the biggest distribution hub in the world. So even
that's true, too.
you can self-publish through Amazon, but even if you publish through some internet website, you still have to go through Amazon.
Yes.
Because it would kind of be like if somebody asks me right now, where do you get my book? I'm gonna say Amazon.com because I know they're gonna go there and find it. If I tell them to go to the MedsW.com, the odds of them leaving out of here and looking that up are kind of
They're not
slim.
going- right.
But if I say go to Amazon and type in my name, they're probably gonna do it.
Oh yeah, 'cause everybody got app right on your phone.
Yeah. So in Amazon, they aren't gonna take a lot. Amazon usually they'll do it per book at like $2 or $3.
Okay.
Yeah.
And in the real world, compared to what publishers charge you,
That's not really nothing.
It's really not much.
Okay.
yeah.
That's
So
really nothing.
yeah, Amazon changed the public industry. Did I say that right?
Definitely.
They changed the publishing industry.
Now, in 2012, you started a blog.
Yes.
Okay. I started reading your blog. If you haven't, his blog is awesome.
Okay.
So his blog is really good. So it's www.demez.com.
DemezW.com.
w.com. And from what I'm seeing, was it writing? You said on there, writing is awesome.
Writing is addictive.
Writing is addictive. Okay. I read a couple of the ones that you said, like don't worry about your friend's backyard, your neighbor or your friend's backyard. Worry about the grass that's in yours. That was one of them that I read that I liked. And then you talked about actually liking. You can love somebody, but it's more important to actually like that person.
Yes, of course. I mean, I'll keep harping on 2019, but we have so much access to people.
Yeah.
Right.
So we have so much social media. We have so many access to text people, DM people, have phone conversations with people. You need to like the person you're with.
Yes.
This whole concept that love is universal, that love overcomes all. I'm a very romantic guy. I became popular pretty much because of romantic deeds that I've done.
Okay.
But that romance might last 2 hours on a Sunday afternoon.
Exactly.
What happens when you get off work on a Wednesday and you don't like your
Right.
wife or you don't like your husband? You need to like the person that you with.
Right.
And if you like that person, then y'all will make it past a lot of the down moments in your relationship. But if you just really love them a lot, you'll get bored, man.
The one thing that you said on there that had me cracking up says, you gotta like even the little bad things about the person. What if that, the person that has like the morning breath, the person, they don't clean up after themselves. They don't there's certain things you gotta, what are you willing to actually deal with?
You gotta joke, like I'm a very serious guy. And, you gotta be willing to joke and play with your woman or your man.
Oh, yes.
You can't take it so serious.
Right.
Exactly. Believe me, I entertain mines all the time. Every time I say something, it's something. Believe me, it's something. But for the people who's watching, what can they follow you at on social media?
On Facebook, you can follow me at Demez F. White.
Okay.
And on Twitter and Instagram, you can follow me at Arthur D. White.
Okay. Due to your author and everything, what can you tell someone who's trying to be an author or just trying to figure out life themselves right now?
Right.
Which camera am I looking at?
The red one, right
The
here.
red one.
Yeah, right there.
Okay. Look, y'all listen to me. If
Listen
you are trying
closely.
to be an author, do not try and be an author. Just write.
Okay.
Don't worry about people stealing your work on Facebook, on Instagram, on your blog. Hey, I wrote something, I don't want anybody to steal it. People go steal it. That happens.
That's why people got the share button, right?
Yes. Just write. I used to wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and I used to write Facebook notes. And I would ask people, do you want me to tag you on my Facebook note? And I might have 3 people say, please tag me, I want to read it. And I would tag those 3 people, and those 3 people would share it with 4 people, and 4 people would share it with 6 people.
Okay.
And next thing you know, my blog is getting 100,000 shares.
Right.
Because I started saying, I'm just going to write. I'm not going to publish books anymore. I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to write. And that writing leads to you getting better at writing, and getting better at writing leads to you saying, I can write a real book now. And that's how you start. But if you have an idea and you're like, I got a real great life story, I'm going to go write a book. Do you know how to write a book? Would you go build a car if you never learn how to change a transmission or a tire? So why would you go write a book if you've never written a short story or a poem or written a chapter?
Okay.
So take your time, learn how to write, learn how to listen to your voice in your head,
Right.
and give yourself a couple years and you'll be a star.
Right.
And thank you so much for coming to us tonight. Vybe, I appreciate it. We're going to support you November 9th. AP going to be there too. That's
Right.
another brand new, we have, not us, we personally
Ames
have.
Parker.
Ames
Ames
Parker.
Part of Ames
Oh, it's an
Parker
AP.
brand. Ames
Oh, it's
Parker.
AP, but hey, Ames
Yeah.
Parker.
So
They gonna be
definitely
there?
check it out. So at Share Space Houston,
It's a share space on navigation.
no
And
navigation.
we're going to have
okay.
it on our Facebook. People who want to come and RSVP and everything. But thank you again for coming tonight.
Right.
And I will steal this book. I keep saying it, but I will steal this book tonight.
Toy already said, let me read it when you're done.
For
so.
real, for real, for real.
So thank you, everybody.
Thank you for everybody for coming out tonight. Thank you, audience, for coming out tonight.
Right.
Make sure y'all like, love, share, comment, everything else above. And this is Vybe. Good night.
Peace.